Hello and welcome to this video on selecting a topic for a research proposal. Let's go ahead and roll up our sleeves and get started. So let's say for your research course, you are assigned the task of identifying a topic for a research proposal. Um, this applies for students that are taking a research course or even considering a dissertation. I work with students in research methods and program evaluation, but many of you who may be students in research methods and program evaluation may be planning on at some point doing a PhD program and writing a dissertation. That's a much larger project, but it all starts with identifying a topic. And how do you identify what we call a researchable topic? Well, you want to make sure that there's a gap in the literature that relates to this topic. So let's look at this article called Creatively Increasing Empathy. Let's say you're interested in the topic of empathy and what helps make people more empathic or how to increase empathy. And so you come across this article called Creatively Increasing Empathy, the Impacts of an Online Empathy Workshop, published in 2021 by Kuhnley and colleagues. And as you're reading through this document, you find some interesting information and you continue reading down to the latter part of the article and you get to the discussion section. And this is where we want to slow down and read and look for some keywords like future research is needed on blank, or more information is needed about blank, or we suggest future research investigate blank, right? This is a gap. This is something that past researchers indicate we need more information about. So as we're looking through the discussion section, we want to be looking for that. So let's see, implications for, limitations and future directions. Or sometimes you'll see future research or recommendations for future research. But this is the section where we're probably going to find our gaps. Our gap could be a limitation. In other words, something that another study indicates as one of their limitations, that a replication study should be done that addresses it. So for example, maybe they indicate they need a larger sample, so you could do a similar study perhaps with a larger sample. Typically for the gap, you want to find something a bit more substantial to address. So maybe they want to use a battery of assessments rather than just one assessment. But let's look at some specific examples here. This says the short-term nature of the workshop, again, this is about empathy development workshops, prevented distributed learning. Future research should extend the time frame to allow for practice over a longer period. Furthermore, in the present study, these skills had not yet been transferred into habits, and participants reported feeling overwhelmed by the number of exercises they were to complete. Thus, future research, key phrase, should provide a more structured suggestion for exercise completion, expand upon exercises participants found helpful, and add additional exercises to closely target dimensions of empathy on the IRI. Okay, so very clearly here we see multiple gaps in the research, right? So we could design a new study that looks at providing a more structured suggestion for exercise completion. So that tells participants specifically, okay, please complete these exercises on empathy development during week 1, these during week 2, and so on. We could also expand upon the exercises that they found helpful and include more of those. So for example, participants found self-compassion exercises helpful, we could do more of those. Participants found exercises in the follow-up study where we talked about the Mr. Rogers effect and how Mr. Rogers interacted with Senator Pastore in a highly empathic way in a short video clip from a YouTube presentation. And so they really appreciated that exercise, which helped develop what we call ear skills. So we could add more content on that, right? Let's see. And then we could add additional exercise to closely target dimensions of empathy on the interpersonal reactivity index. So another opportunity is to look at the interpersonal reactivity index scale and identify the different questions and subscales and look at how the particular exercises from the course or the workshop could help really target and address the different dimensions of empathy being addressed on the IRI. Let's see. We also see limitations here. Also, technological concerns may have interfered with learning. So perhaps the same empathy development workshop could be conducted face-to-face on a campus. The study also did not have a control group. Here is a methods gap, right? You could do a replication study and add a control group. So it says future research should include the control group. So that would be another key gap there. You could replicate the study and add a control group. So in summary, future research on empathy training should diversify the sample, extend the time frame and structure, and include a control group for comparison. So that's multiple gaps there, and we could identify one of those to be the starting point for our topic selection assignment. So we let's say we want to look at how to help counselors in training increase in their empathy levels. So we start with looking at how can we replicate this previous research and add, distribute it over a longer period of time. So if this study did 2 workshops, or maybe a follow-up study included an 8-week training, maybe we'll extend that to 16 weeks. Or maybe we'll extend that to 10 weeks. Just want to have a rationale for that time frame, but you can use that as a starting point for the gap in the literature. You might find you're interested in a totally different topic, but hopefully this process gives you an idea for which sections of the article you might pay special attention to find those gaps, and for how to find a statement that could be used as a gap statement. I hope this gives you some concepts to contemplate. Until next time, God bless.